Welcome to Watch the Book. Today we present War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy, published in 1869. In July 1805, at a Petersburg soiree, the influential Anna Pavlovna Scherer greets her guests with anxious talk of Napoleon, whom she calls the Antichrist, for his relentless expansion across Europe. Prince Vasily Kuragin, a man of high rank, arrives seeking a lucrative post for his wastrel son Anatoly. He navigates the political chatter with practiced ease, his true motives hidden beneath courtly grace. Anna Pavlovna suggests a match between Anatoly and the rich but plain Princess Maria Bolkonskaya. Prince Vasily is intrigued, seeing a solution to his son's crippling debts in the Bolkonsky fortune. The party fills with guests, including the pregnant Lise Bolkonskaya, a celebrated beauty, and Pierre Bezukhov, the awkward, illegitimate son of a wealthy count, newly returned from his education abroad. Pierre, large and clumsy, struggles with social etiquette. He engages in a passionate political debate, defending Napoleon as a product of the revolution, which horrifies the aristocratic assembly. Prince Andrei Bolkonsky, Lisa's husband, arrives. His handsome face is marked by a profound weariness and boredom with the shallow society he finds himself in, including his own charming wife. Back at Prince Andrei's home, he confesses his deep unhappiness to Pierre. He feels trapped in his marriage and in a society he despises, and sees going to war as the only escape to a life of meaning. Lise confronts her husband, accusing him of cruelty for leaving her alone in the country while pregnant. Their argument reveals the deep chasm between them, leaving Pierre as an uncomfortable witness. Later that night, Pierre joins Anatol Kuragin's wild party. There, the notorious gambler and duelist Dolokhov makes a perilous bet to drink a bottle of rum sitting on a high window ledge. Dolokhov wins his bet, displaying chilling self-control. A drunken Pierre, swept up in the moment, challenges to do the same, but is restrained by the others who fear for his life. In Moscow, the Rostov family celebrates the name day of the mother and youngest daughter, both named Natalia. The house is a whirlwind of cheerful, hospitable chaos, a stark contrast to Petersburg's formal salons. We meet the vibrant 13-year-old Natasha Rostova, a girl bursting with life, and her elder brother Nikolai, a university student who dreams of abandoning his studies to join the Hussars. Nikolai is infatuated with his 15-year-old cousin Sonia, who lives with the family. Their youthful romance blossoms in the corners of the bustling house, marked by stolen glances and secret promises. Meanwhile, the Rostovs' distant cousin, Anna Mikhailovna, schemes to secure a position in the guards for her son, Boris Drubetskoy, who has grown up alongside the Rostov children and shares a special bond with Natasha. In a moment of childhood affection, Natasha summons the 14-year-old Boris to the conservatory and, standing on a tub to reach him, gives him his first kiss, sealing a promise of future love. Anna Mikhailovna takes Boris to see his dying godfather, Count Bezukhov, Pierre's father. She is determined to secure a portion of the vast inheritance for her son against the schemes of Prince Vasily. A tense struggle ensues over the old count's will. Prince Vasily and one of the count's nieces try to seize a portfolio containing a new will that would legitimize Pierre and make him the sole heir. Anna Mikhailovna foils Prince Vasily's plan, securing the new will. The old Count Bezukhov dies, and the bewildered Pierre, who had been ignored all his life, suddenly becomes Count Bezukhov, possessor of a colossal fortune. In the country, old Prince Bolkonsky, Andrei's father, lives a life of rigid, tyrannical routine at his estate, Bald Hills. He torments his daughter, Maria, with demanding lessons and his sharp, eccentric temper. Prince Andrei arrives at Bald Hills with his wife, Lise, who is to remain there while he goes to war. The reunion is strained. Andrei is cold to his wife, and his father mocks his son's military ambitions. Andrei tells his sister he is going to war to find glory, a purpose greater than the stifling domestic life he has come to hate. He leaves for the army, parting coldly from his weeping pregnant wife. In October 1805, the Russian army, under General Kutuzov, is in Austria. Andrei Bolkonsky, now an adjutant, feels a surge of purpose, believing the coming war will be his path to glory and historical greatness. Nikolai Rostov's Hussar squadron is stationed near Braunau. The regiment is in poor condition, with worn-out boots, a fact that irritates the commanders preparing for a review by Kutuzov. Dolokhov, having been reduced to the ranks, stands in his bluish soldier's coat, enduring the regimental commander's scorn with insolent calm. His unyielding gaze meets the general's, creating a silent challenge. During the review, Kutuzov recognizes Dolokhov. Prince Andrei reminds him of Dolokhov's story, and the old general offers the disgraced soldier a chance to atone for his past and prove his devotion to Russia. At the Battle of Schön-Grabern, the Russian rearguard under Prince Bagration prepares to face a vastly superior French force. Prince Andrei rides to the front, eager for his first real taste of battle. Under heavy French fire, Captain Tushin's small, forgotten artillery battery continues to fight heroically, setting the village of Schön-Grabern ablaze without any infantry support to protect them. Nikolai Rostov's squadron is ordered into a cavalry charge. Galloping forward, Nikolai feels an exhilarating joy, but his horse is shot from under him, and he is left on the field with a sprained arm. Alone and disoriented, Rostov sees French soldiers running toward him. He is seized with terror, not for glory but for his young and happy life, and flees into the bushes like a hunted animal. Prince Andrei is sent to Tushin's battery with orders to retreat. He finds the men fighting with desperate cheerfulness amid the dead and wounded, and is inspired by their simple, unheralded courage. The army retreats from Schön-Grabern. The campaign has been a failure. Andrei is sent to Brünn to deliver news of a minor victory, but learns that Vienna has fallen, and Napoleon is at Schönbrunn. Back in Russia, Prince Vasily finally brings his son Anatoly to Bald Hills. He intends to secure the marriage to Princess Maria, but the eccentric old Prince Bolkonsky receives them with scorn and suspicion. Anatole, handsome and self-assured, cares little for the plain Princess Maria, but is immediately attracted to her pretty French companion, Mademoiselle Bourienne, and begins to flirt with her. Princess Maria, preparing to accept the proposal she believes will decide her fate, accidentally discovers Anatole in the conservatory, embracing Mademoiselle Bourienne. Her dreams are instantly shattered. That same hour, Princess Maria resolutely refuses Anatole's proposal, telling her furious father that she never wishes to leave him. She feels her true vocation is one of love and self-sacrifice. Pierre, now a wealthy count, is ensnared by the beautiful but cold Hélène Kuragina. Though he feels it is a mistake, the pressures of society and her calculated allure make the marriage seem inevitable. The Great Battle of Austerlitz begins. Prince Andrei sees the two emperors Alexander and Francis at the front. He feels this is his moment, his Toulon, where his destiny will be forged in glory. The Russian army is in chaos. Kutuzov is wounded. The troops are fleeing. Seeing a fallen standard, Andrei seizes it and rallies a battalion, running forward alone into the heart of the French fire. He is struck down. Lying on his back, he gazes up at the lofty, infinite sky. All his former ambitions of glory seem petty and insignificant compared to the vast, peaceful heavens above him. Napoleon rides over the battlefield and stops beside the fallen Prince Andrei, remarking, "That's a fine death." But to Andrei, his hero now seems like a small, vain man, a fly buzzing over his true discovery. Back in Russia, Nikolai Rostov returns on leave and finds his family's finances in ruins. He also finds Dolokhov, recovered from his duel, has proposed to Sonia, who has refused him out of loyalty to Nicholas. Dolokhov, feeling rejected, lures Nicholas into a card game. With cold precision, he makes Nicholas lose the colossal sum of 43,000 rubles, a debt that completes the Rostovs' financial ruin. Pierre, hearing rumors of his wife's affair with Dolokhov, is given an anonymous letter confirming his suspicions. At a celebratory dinner, his suppressed rage erupts and he challenges Dolokhov to a duel. In the snowy Sokonniki forest, the inexperienced Pierre fires his pistol. To his own astonishment, he wounds Dolokhov. His honor satisfied, he is now left with the crushing certainty of his wife's betrayal. Prince Andrei is presumed dead, but is found alive among the wounded. He returns home just as his wife Lise is giving birth to their son. She dies in childbirth, her dead face bearing a look of gentle reproach. In the spring of 1809, Andrei revisits a gnarled, lifeless oak tree which seems to reflect his own joyless existence. His life, he feels, is over. There is nothing left to hope or strive for. At the Rostovs Otradno estate, he encounters Natasha, now a vibrant 16-year-old. That night, he overhears her at her window, passionately speaking of the night's beauty and her desire to fly away. On his return journey, Prince Andrei sees the old oak again, now covered in new green leaves. A sudden, unreasoning feeling of joy and renewal seizes him. He decides that his life is not over at 31. In Petersburg, Andrei becomes involved with Speransky's governmental reforms. He also attends a grand ball, his first in years. There he meets Natasha again, a radiant debutante, and asks her to dance. As they waltz, the wine of her charm rises to his head. He feels rejuvenated and alive, captivated by her grace and her complete indifference to the superficial society that surrounds them. Andrei proposes to Natasha. She accepts with overwhelming joy. However, his father will only consent if they wait 1 year, a delay that fills Natasha with a sense of dread despite her happiness. After Andrei's departure for Europe, Natasha's loneliness and impatience grow. She attends the opera, where she is captivated by the shockingly handsome Anatole Kuragin, Helene's brother. Anatole is instantly infatuated with Natasha. He pursues her relentlessly, his bold, adoring gaze making her feel that the moral barrier between them is rapidly dissolving, both thrilling and terrifying her. At Helene's, Anatole corners Natasha and kisses her. She feels she is lost, caught between her deep love for Andrei and this powerful, incomprehensible attraction to a man she barely knows. Anatole, who is secretly already married, conspires with Dolokhov to elope with Natasha. He sends her passionate letters, convincing her to run away with him and be secretly married. Sonia discovers the plan on the very night of the elopement. Feeling it is her duty to save the family from disgrace, she foils the abduction by alerting Maria Dmitrievna, who locks Natasha in her room. Pierre, summoned by Maria Dmitrievna, confronts his brother-in-law. Seized with fury, he forces Anatole to give up Natasha's letters and orders him to leave Moscow immediately. Natasha falls gravely ill from the shock and shame. In a state of despair, she attempts to poison herself with arsenic, but is discovered in time by Sonia and saved. She believes her life is over. Prince Andrei, on his return to Russia, is informed by his father of Natasha's broken engagement and her attempted elopement. He asks Pierre to return her letters and her portrait, ending the affair coldly. The great year of 1812 has arrived. Napoleon's massive army crosses the Russian frontier, moving east. The Russian forces, divided and without a clear plan, begin their long retreat into the heart of the country. Prince Andrei, having rejoined the army, finds his father's estate at Bald Hills in the path of the French advance. He urges his father to leave, but the old prince refuses, suffering a fatal stroke soon after. Princess Maria is trapped at Bald Hills, her peasants in revolt and refusing to help her leave. She is rescued by Nicholas Rostov, who happens to be passing by and is moved by her gentle sorrow. On the eve of the Battle of Borodino, Pierre Bezukhov arrives at the Russian position. He finds Prince Andrei in a state of grim irritation, convinced that the battle will be won not by strategy but by spirit. The battle begins. Pierre, a civilian in a white hat wanders onto the field and finds himself at Revsky's redoubt, the most vital and dangerous point of the Russian line, witnessing the slaughter with horrified fascination. As the battle rages, Prince Andrei's regiment is held in reserve under horrific artillery fire. A smoking shell lands at his feet. He hesitates for a moment and is grievously wounded in the abdomen. At the dressing station, Andrei sees the suffering Anatol Kuragin, whose leg has just been amputated. All his hatred vanishes, replaced by an ecstatic feeling of pity and brotherly love for his enemy. After the battle, the Russian army retreats, abandoning Moscow. Pierre, obsessed with a mystical belief that he is destined to assassinate Napoleon, remains in the deserted and burning city in disguise. Pierre is arrested by the French after saving a child from a fire. Accused of being an incendiary, he is taken to be executed with a group of other Russian prisoners. He is certain this is the end of his life. He witnesses the execution of 5 other prisoners, a horrifyingly methodical process that shatters his faith in the world. As the 6th, he is preparing to die but is unexpectedly pardoned at the last moment. As a prisoner, Pierre meets Platon Karatayev, a peasant soldier who restores his soul with a simple truth. Happiness is not a grand idea but life itself, unquestioning and round. The great French retreat from Moscow begins. The once grand army is now a starving, freezing mob of marauders, trudging through the snow and relentlessly harassed by Cossacks and partisans. The Rostovs, fleeing from Moscow, have taken a train of wounded soldiers with them. Natasha, discovering that Prince Andrei is among them, begins to nurse him with desperate and selfless devotion. At a monastery near Moscow, Natasha and Andrei are reconciled. He confesses his love for her, and in his final days, she never leaves his side, finding a new purpose in soothing his suffering. During the retreat, the ailing Platon Karatayev is no longer able to walk. A French guard summarily shoots him by the side of the road. Pierre feels that a part of his own soul has been torn from him. The young Petya Rostov, having joined a partisan group under Denisov, insists on taking part in a reckless raid. During the chaotic attack, he is shot and killed by the French. Pierre is liberated from captivity by Denisov's partisans, but the joy of his freedom is crushed by the sight of Petya's dead body. He is numb, unable to grasp the events unfolding around him. The news of Petya's death nearly destroys the Countess Rostova. Natasha, forgetting her own sorrow, devotes herself entirely to her mother, and in this act of love, she begins her own return to life. Prince Andrei dies in Yaroslavl, with his sister and Natasha at his side. In his final moments, he experiences a spiritual awakening, a detachment from earthly life and a joyful consciousness of eternal love. 1813. After months of convalescence, Pierre returns to Moscow. He visits Princess Maria, and there he finds Natasha. Her face is pale and thin, but her eyes reveal the profound spiritual change she has undergone. He feels his love for her reborn, no longer a romantic infatuation, but a deep, certain bond. He knows that she, and she alone, must be his wife, and that his life has led him to this single purpose. Pierre and Natasha are married. He finds in their family life the quiet harmony and meaning he has always sought. His soul, once tormented by great questions, is now at peace in her presence. Nicholas Rostov's financial affairs are in ruin. To save his family, he knows he must marry a wealthy heiress. He travels to Voronezh and again meets Princess Maria, finding himself drawn to her deep spirituality. Sonia, realizing the family's plight and Nicholas's duty, writes him a letter releasing him from their childhood promise. This act of self-sacrifice clears the way for his future happiness. Nicholas and Princess Maria are married. He becomes a dedicated farmer, finding simple purpose in the soil and his duty to his family, while she finds a quiet, earthly happiness in her love for him and their children. 7 years have passed. It is 1820. The families are gathered at Bald Hills. Pierre and Natasha have 4 children. Their life is a bustling, loving, and sometimes chaotic domestic. Nicholas and Countess Maria also have children. Their life is quieter, grounded in the rhythms of the estate and their deep, though unspoken, love for one another. Sonia lives with them, a sterile but beloved flower. Pierre returns from a trip to Petersburg involved with a new secret society, one that aims to reform the corrupt Russian state. He speaks passionately of the need for action and independence. Nicholas furiously insists his oath to the state is absolute, vowing he would lead a squadron against Pierre himself if commanded to do so. Later that night, Prince Andrei's son, young Nicholas, who has overheard the argument, dreams of leading an army to glory with Uncle Pierre, determined to do something with which even his great father would be satisfied. Natasha, whose entire world is now her family, soothes her husband's political agitation. She feels a deep, quiet happiness, understanding that life's true meaning is not in grand ideas, but in the love she holds. If you were moved by this story of love, loss, and the search for meaning, subscribe to Watch the Book for more epic literary journeys brought to life. Don't miss a single chapter of history.